The Running Man was kind of mid. Not bad, not incredible, just like sitting right in the middle of that scale. And I did enjoy it, which I think is exactly why we need to stop acting like movies being mid is a crime against cinema. I think we need more movies like this. Edgar Wright's The Running Man remake dropped into a media ecosystem that now treats every single big studio film like it has to justify its own existence, like it needs to reinvent the medium or save cinema or become a cultural event that changes discourse for the next 5 years. And if it doesn't do at least one of those things, people get so weird and mad about it. The Running Man does none of that. It just shows up and it looks expensive and it casts hot charismatic actors and it blows up a TV studio at the end, and I don't think that's terrible. It's set in a near future America run by an authoritarian media corporation known as the Network. The film follows Ben Richards, who is played by Glenn Powell, who makes you very aware that he is being played by Glenn Powell. He is a blue-collar guy with a sick daughter and medical debt, and he is in a system that is designed to grind people down. This pushes him into volunteering for The Running Man, which is the network's most popular show. The premise of the show being that runners are released into the world and hunted by professional killers for 30 days. If you survive, you win $1 billion, or you just die. The public watches everything and is constantly reminded that anyone who resists this system ends up dead or edited into a villain. I think this is dystopian fiction at its most blunt form. There is no subtlety here. The media lies, the corporation is evil, entertainment exists to pacify people and redirect their anger away from structures that are actually hurting them. It's anti-fascist and it's anti-capitalist and very loud about it, which I know annoyed some people, but honestly, given the year that we're having, I think being extremely clear about your themes is fine. Ben is manipulated by the network, framed as a criminal, and edited into a monster for the audience at home. He gets help from the anti-network underground activists, and that's unstable and risky for him. The film keeps returning to the same idea over and over again, that this reality doesn't matter if the story is being broadcast, is more entertaining and more convenient. Not subtle, but it's fine, it works, it's effective. Lee Pace being in this movie, 5 stars. Oh, he has that bass that makes me just want to give everything he's in 5 stars. I love him. Every scene he's in, he carries this like theatrical, slightly self-aware, menacing vibe, and like he knows he's in a movie and he's having a real good time with it. I love him. He's really great as his character as well. Coleman Domingo, another 5 stars. At this point, Common Domingo in anything automatically elevates it. He plays the network's media-trained figurehead with this like unsettling warmth about him. There's a lot of pleasure in watching him perform in anything and everything. Between those two, the film never feels empty. Even when the script leans into familiar territory, they understand their roles completely, and it makes for a great time. Glenn Powell is where a lot of the discourse gets so weird. He's a fun screen presence. He radiates TikTok actor, though. Not in a bad way, but I think it's hard to take him fully seriously in a role like Ben Richards, who is supposed to be like desperate and angry and crushed by the system. But it's fine. He did Hitman a couple years ago, and I think he was perfect in that because the tone matched him. The Running Man asked him to carry something way heavier, and sometimes you can just feel the mismatch between the character and the actor. He never quite disappears into the role, and you are always aware that it is Glenn Powell doing a bit. I've seen people call him the mini Tom Cruise, and I think that is so generous. He does do his own stunts, which is fine. It's cool, it's admirable, but like the comparison feels more like marketing wishful thinking than reality. Still, there is something charming about how unserious he remains even when the movie probably should want more intensity. I think at points the charm does work with the film's tone. This was never going to be like a grim, soul-destroying ending kind of movie. The constant costume changes, which I think were a homage to Powell's Hitman, they reinforce the idea that this is a spectacle first and then existential dread. One of the best sequences in the movie leans fully into like a Home Alone style, chaotic, violent thing, and it's so dumb and it's so ridiculous and it makes no sense, but it is extremely fun to watch. I think the movie embraces being stupid as fuck in the best way. The action scenes are theatrical and they're messy and they're clearly designed around entertainment value rather than, trying to be grounded in realism. But I think it works. The runners are performers as much as they are victims, and the killers are basically themed attractions. The exaggerated quality fits this world. Everything feels a bit artificial, and it kind of reinforces the idea that this entire system is built for spectacle. We need to talk about the ending, because this is where a lot of people, I think, checked out. In the original Running Man, the book, Ben dies. Sorry. Spoilers. It has been 20 odd years though, so come on, get with the times. It's so bleak. It commits fully to the idea that the system always wins. The 2025 version changes that, and Ben survives. The film cuts back to the conspiracy theory guy who explains that Ben isn't actually dead, and then Ben blows up a studio. It's so dumb and it's so cringe, but I didn't hate it. It was fun. This movie was never gonna end with like a quiet, devastating moral conclusion. This is a Glenn Powell movie. The story is already heightened and already exaggerated and already leading into absurdity. This is what was gonna happen. The studio explosion feels like a fantasy of release. It's emotional catharsis rather than realism. And for a movie about media manipulation and public spectacle, ending with a literal destruction of the broadcast feels thematically consistent. A lot of people I've seen have described this movie as Netflixy. They're not wrong. It has like a polished kind of algorithm-friendly thing going for it. The pacing is efficient. The emotional beats are obvious, and the visuals are clean, but that does make them a little flat sometimes. I don't think that makes it automatically worthless, despite my less than stellar opinion of Netflix. There is something to be said for movies that are easy to watch and easy to follow, and clearly designed for a broad audience. Not every movie needs to demand your full intellectual engagement. I think The Running Man knows what it is. It isn't pretending to be high art. It wants to entertain you while yelling about fascism and capitalism. The combination feels very 2020s. I think we used to have a lot of mid movies. Like the middle tier of cinema used to be full of like fun, star-driven, slightly messy films that didn't redefine anything in any way, but they were still like worth your time. We lost the patience for that category somewhere along the way. Now everything has to be a masterpiece or it's a failure. I think the binary thinking kills experimentation and it kills weird casting choices and it kills movies that just exist without this pressure of cultural importance. The Running Man doesn't change cinema. I don't think it needs to. It delivers a clear message. They say it very clearly multiple times throughout the movie. It has talented actors and they are given room to play and it commits to being entertaining. And I think that's enough. Sometimes a movie can be mid and still be enjoyable. Sometimes blowing up a studio is a perfectly acceptable ending. Sometimes Lee Pace and Coleman Domingo being hot and menacing carries the whole thing.